Good evening, everybody. Hey, Roxanne, how you doing? Welcome to this episode of the Bizarre and the Unknown, where I'm joined with my good brother William Nighthawk, and we're going to talk about zombies. And we're going to talk about not necessarily what you mean. A lot of people, when they think about zombies, this is the oops, you got to scroll up. This is the little critter that they're thinking about. So, is that a possibility? Possibly. Um, but we're going to dive into it, and we're going to get into some old stories, old stuff. Hey, Melissa, how's it going? So, real quick before we dive in, hey, David, for those of you who may not follow William Nighthawk on YouTube at William Nighthawk 6630, my good brother William Nighthawk, if you wouldn't mind, talk a little bit about yourself for a second.
Just a second. Okay. Pretty much got born into the paranormal and supernatural. Was raised with a lot of the black arts, being Native American, and been told of all the legends of Native people. So I just continued that kind of life for the longest time, and now recently I just within the last 3 years started a podcast to start exploring and letting people know about some of the things and encounters that I've been through. So,
Awesome. So, for those guys who don't know, I follow William, or I co-host with William on Saturday and Sunday mornings on his Paranormal Brew, and I help him out every now and then on Friday nights on his Red Rabbit Hole. We cover a lot of interesting stuff, really, really good stuff. So if you guys are not following him, definitely do. And I'll have his link up in the bottom here, and I always plug his channel at the end of my show every time. So with that being said, let's dive into this. You know, zombies is an interesting thing. There's been several reports. I mean, you even got military training exercises that's been done for a zombie apocalypse that they claim was just a training deal. Why the hell are you going to train for Afghanistan for a zombie apocalypse? I mean, and there's military and governments all over the world that's doing the exact same thing. And there's an actual federal, zombie task force team. So if you got that, if there ain't no such thing as zombies, why do they have this kind of stuff, and why are they doing this kind of training?
Yeah. Well,
Hey,
then you got
Cynthia.
to think too. Yeah, then you got to think too, Eric. You know, the CDC has protocol for it, and so does FEMA. FEMA has
Yep.
protocol for a zombie attack, a zombie virus. So, and I would imagine even the Vatican's getting involved because they've just put out a supernatural statement concerning all this bizarre and unknown stuff that is currently happening around us every day.
Yep. Oh yeah. You know, and I've got a bunch of notes on this, man. I have dug through some history in many different cultures dealing with this zombie stuff. And one of the things I want to hit is something new that has hit mainstream media. This is an interesting thing here. Um, According to, oh my gosh, I forgot to put that news company down who done this one. I'm sorry. So, but according to this news agency, it reported, "Hey Juno, how's it going?" They say humanity is facing a bizarre new pandemic threat. Scientists have warned ancient viruses frozen in the Arctic permafrost could one day be released by Earth's warming climate and unleash a major disease outbreak. Strains of this methocilia microbes, or zombie virus, as they are also known, have already been isolated by researchers who have raised fears that the new global medical emergency could be triggered not by an illness new to science, but a disease from distant past. And as a result, scientists have begun planning an Arctic monitoring network that would pinpoint early cases of diseases caused by ancient microorganisms. Additionally, it would provide quarantine and expert medical treatment for the infected people in a bid to contain an outbreak and prevent affected people from leaving the region. At the moment, analysis on the pandemic threat focuses on diseases that might emerge in southern regions and then spread north, said journalist Sean Michael Cavalier of Marcel University. By contrast, little attention has been given to an outbreak that might emerge in the far north and then travel south. And that in an oversight, I believe there are viruses up there that have the potential to infect humans and start a new disease outbreak. This point was backed by virologist Marion Koopmans of the Immersa Medical Center in Rotterdam. We do not know this what virus we do not know what viruses are laying out there in the permafrost, but I think this is a real risk that there might be one capable of triggering a disease outbreak, say of an ancient form of polio. We have to assume that something like this could happen. In 2014, Cavalier led a team of scientists who isolated live viruses in the Siberia and showed they could still infect single-celled organisms even though they had been buried in permafrost for thousands of years. Further research published last year revealed the existence of several different viral strands from 7 different sites in Siberia and showed that these could inflict cultured cells. One virus sample was 4,800 and 5,000 years old. This was reported by the there it is. I knew I put it in there somewhere. And I'm going to butcher the name of this news agency, Judean. This is the largest virus and contains 500 genes that are able to mutate. Although a more recent relative of this virus has been found, studies shows that it does not affect humans. That being said, the older virus could still pose a threat. And this is something that just came out. Hello, Amber. Hello, Kyle. If I missed anybody, sorry. I was kind of reading this new news article that came out about this zombie virus that they found in the permafrost. So, I mean, this is something right there that kind of, you know, the stuff that William and I talk about all the time. You know, we've always talked about there's going to be another outbreak. And now they're coming out these news articles about this zombie virus they found in the permafrost. So, William, I want to pick your brains and everybody in the comment. Let me know what you think on this news article that I just read to you.
Well, I mean, you have to consider too the times that they are. You know, in order for a country like Russia to claim that they have discovered a zombie infectious virus in the frozen tundra, leads me to the same theory that they found the same exact stuff up above in northern Alaska, in the blue ice. There's zombified worms in the blue ice that were frozen in time up in Alaska. And it's always been for me to think that you're either going to deal with there's certain specific types of zombies. Okay, I hate to classify them all as into one group. Your Native American type of a zombie is more of like a demonic possession type of a thing, like the Wendigo. Okay, so and then you've got your possible genetics, alterations through your genetics being taken by science and mutated in that way. Then you got natural virus outbreak, which is more of a hand-to-hand contact type of an outbreak. But the way the world is going now, I would suspect more than ever the military would release some type of a toxic agent to make a zombie virus outbreak, whether it's to call the efforts of war or make a super soldier that is already dead, so you can't kill him again, that type of thing. So it's quite a few different things.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, and what I find interesting about that is if you guys are on the weirdo chat on that William has up on Facebook, I posted a video earlier. And what I find interesting, this video comes from military.com. Before I get to that, let me get to the. Hey, Camo Dad. The permafrost can have many things that may be deadly once thawed. Eons ago, everything has a tropical. Yeah, I mean, and it's kind of where we're getting to on that. False flag. It's another grain of function man-made virus. That's kind of where I'm wondering too, my friend. It's what I'm kind of wondering too.
Yep.
So, but what I find interesting is this was found in Siberia, and I found this video on military.com with a Russian helicopter pilot. So this is strictly for entertainment purposes to dissect, to engage with the show tonight. For all those at YouTube that's listening, this was 100% for entertainment and dissecting purposes. And here's that video.
Прием, 9-2. Могу его видеть. Стреляют, товарищ командир, стреляют! Двое его преследуют. Подлетаю, 70 градусов на юг. Еще один. Их уже 4, которые его преследуют. Их уже 5, товарищ командир, 5. Справа. Среди вышел из здания. Справа. 5, товарищ командир, 5. Стреляют, товарищ командир, стреляют! Они его поймали! Их уже 5, товарищ командир, вышел из здания. Стреляют, товарищ командир!
I'm going to stop that right there so we don't go over too many seconds, and also because of what happens at the end. If you guys have not seen that, hey, Dennis, how's it going? If you guys have not seen that, go to the Weirded Warrior deal on Williams Messenger and take a look at it, or let me know and I'll send it, because the last part ain't too friendly. Now, is this a Russian virtual training deal? That's possibly. What I find interesting about it is if you follow towards the end of it, the part that I didn't show on here because of certain reasons, you'll understand why I went, holy crap, because you can really feel the emotion in that Russian helicopter pilot's voice and what happens to this gentleman. But I've got the video saved. It's interesting, William, and everybody in chat. What do you guys think of that video?
I've got to say that it's very, very telling as far as some type of a zombie outbreak in Russia. But at the same time, I can't confirm that is legitimate either, though, because you have all this AI gaming out there going on. I mean, they're faking. AI gaming's faking, scenes from the war in the Middle East, So, with fake bombings and stuff like that, and fake fighter jet fights and stuff. And it looks realistic too. I would have to do a reverse image search on that to see exactly who entered that into the system as far as military.com goes. That's just me,
And I can send it to you, brother. I can send that to you. I just, it's weird because you're watching that dude shoot these things and they're not even, nothing's happening to them. But that's where I said, could this be an AI training deal? Absolutely. This very well could be an AI training deal. I cannot leave that out of the realm of possibility. The emotion the guys has at the end, which I cannot play on here because of what scene happens at the end of this video, is the reason why I cannot play it on YouTube. I may put it on my Rumble. If I put it on my Rumble, I could play the full thing then. All right, Gino, I got you. But at the end of it, and the emotions and what happens is, man, it's interesting. Dennis says, it looked a lot like enhanced video game style of training. Well, it does, but it also, that is exactly how the FLIR units look like on attack helicopters. So But once again, could be AI. I'm not here saying this is real. I'm just saying this is interesting. And if this is a military style AI training, why are they training for this? Now, if it's a video game, I get it. Don't know why they're putting video game stuff on military.com. I don't know. That's not my place. So I don't know. But I just found that interesting. I just really did.
Yeah. It's very interesting. Dennis, has a lot of, knowledge on the zombie stuff too. So yeah, it could be, it very well could be military training, or it could be just a gaming system. Look at Red Dead Redemption. The graphics on that look pretty realistic when it first came out back in 2011. So, it's AI is just taking over all this stuff and making it look very, very realistic. So we just can't confirm or deny it right now.
Yeah, no, we can't. And that's the thing about when you're doing research on this stuff, folks, you got to keep in mind. And that's another reason why I have this video up there, is because AI is so good nowadays that it makes it hard when you see something like that to go, is this real or is this fake? Maybe it'll come out one day or not. Exactly. I mean, just like this next set of videos I'm fixing to show, or pictures I'm getting ready to show. Dennis said something. Give me 1 second. We know without a doubt the government has zombie infestation Yeah, and then we was talking about that a little bit ago, Dennis. You're absolutely correct. I was talking about that that war game that the officers in the Army supposedly did before going to Afghanistan. Why, if you're going to Afghanistan, which I was a combat aviation instructor, my last assignment in the military was a combat aviation instructor out of Leavenworth, Kansas. We didn't practice zombie stuff. I mean, now I ain't gonna lie, we have done a zombie exercise during regular training once when I was in the Marines. One time we had done that, and that was back in 2000 and I think it was probably 2000 when we did it. But it was that one time. But why are they doing this to get ready for Afghanistan? Why does the federal government have a zombie task force? And this is what we was kind of talking about earlier. So, I mean, absolutely, Dennis, you're right. Jessica says ER doctors are going online. Go ahead.
Yeah. I was just going to say, do you remember the movie Z Nation? I mean, it kind of reminds me of that. So
yeah. Oh yeah. Jessica says ER doctors are going online claiming they have. Yeah, I have zombie protocols in the hospital. Yeah, I mean, a lot of stuff is popping up. So I mean, a lot of this stuff is leading to what tonight's show's about, because people think this is all just kind of fiction stuff. I've got accounts in history from our ancestors that I'm getting ready to start reading off of my notes here. The oldest recorded so far that I've found, the oldest recording documentation about zombies is ancient Sumeria. And I'm going to hit several different ones. And I'm going to get into some of the other stuff, and then we're going to start diving into the countries. But I mean, before we do that, I want to get to these couple pictures. Now, these are pictures that this news channel, KVAL, I couldn't find the article with these pictures, so I apologize, guys. I was wanting that article with it. I could not find it, but I pulled this off of KVAL's actual news website. And this is what they're claiming. They have caught a zombie on a home camera. I'm personally leaning more towards this is probably going to be somebody dressed up in a costume. I can't say one word or the other. I ain't the one that took the pictures. And I don't know how zombies are going to act, but I mean, I know how they act when, according to ancient history. Is that still the same way? I don't know. But this is from that news channel, KVAL. And the first one says this thing going through this, putting his clothes on, which is automatically jumped to me saying, this is just a person in costume. And then you see her kind of walking around the room being all weird like. And this last one, though, I found kind of cool. And I'll let you guys see what I'm talking about before I tell you. I'll give you a second to see if you spot what I'm thinking about in this picture that kind of I went, oh, crap. Once again, I'm not saying this is real. This is just from KBAL. And I'll give you guys a second to see if you pinpoint what I pinpoint on this picture. I could be wrong, but it sounds like I could be wrong, but it sounds like government science is not telling us planning on effect. Yeah, around the world. Yeah, it could be wrong. Yeah, I mean that's another thing we're going to talk about. I think they're getting us ready for. Dennis says, I think they're getting us ready. They are planting the seeds of preparation. That's what I'm saying. And in this picture here, guys, what stood out to me was her eyes. You see the reflection from the camera in her eyes. Now, William brought up a very good point backstage, and I have to agree with him on this. Is she on drugs? And we're getting that water reflection from the drugs, which is causing the reflection of her eyes. That is very possible, yes. Glowing eyes, yes, Cynthia. That to me is what, out of all three of those photos, is what stood out to me. The rest of them I chalked up as this is just a Halloween costume or somebody playing a prank.
Yeah.
I mean,
well,
to me, that's what it was.
My first guess with that picture, Eric, is not to step on you here, but my first guess would be a one word, and that's fentanyl. We've all seen the fentanyl problem in the country now coming over the southern border. And all you got to do is drive down any street in Philadelphia, and you'll see zombies standing there in some kind of state of mind from the fentanyl that they're taking. You know, and they are zombie-like. But do they move fast? No, they hardly move at all, to tell you the truth. And then you got to figure, you know, what if the illegal drugs coming across the borders and into our country has some kind of parasitic added to it? Okay. So a parasitic would attach itself to our body internally, okay? And it could take over functions of the nervous system and all that too. And I learned that from the simple radiation treatments I went through in the hospital for the cancer. So, you know, it mutated me to a point too. So, but, you know, that goes without saying. But yeah, I look for it more to be probably a connection to fentanyl. Maybe it's advertising for fentanyl and that one with the zombie. So that's just my 2 cents. But you know, that's not to say that it doesn't happen, because you had that case in Florida where the cops had to shoot the guy and they killed the guy because he was eating another guy's face. I mean, that's clearly zombie actions, but it was under illegal drugs. So.
Yep. And that you're right, David. And that's oops, I hit the wrong one. Sorry. Come here. There we go. You know, David brings up a very good point. Looks like pixelation from the light hitting the eyes due to the grainy photo. Low light causes that. Just my opinion. And you're 100% right. That is a very good possibility, David. Absolutely.
Yep. And David would know too, because his photographic experience.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. But, you know, it's just weird how they're putting this kind of stuff on a freaking news station. That's why I put it up there. That is something I cannot hop on board. The only part of that photos, like I said, that I found interesting was those eyes. That was the only thing that ever stood out on me, because I wrote it off at first. There's that animal drug that, it's crocodile drug. Camel Dad just set it up there. That using the West Coast eats the skin and people act like zombies. Let me know if I had it right. Yeah. And another thing, you know, me and my friends joke around all the time because we call people zombies nowadays because they're always doing this and not paying attention. And people are getting hit in the streets and accidents are happening all over, workplace or whatever, because they're too busy doing this and not watching what's in front of them. I classify them as zombies, but that's just me. As William says, question everything. Absolutely right, David. Yeah, that's why. And that's why I put these up there, because I want you guys to kind of, for two reasons. One, this is kind of crap they're putting out on news stations. And number two is you really do got to question everything. So let's hop into this. You know, there's on this here is the origins of the word zombie. Hey, Monica, how's it going? I put this up here because a lot of people think zombie, ZOMBIE, is the actual name, which it is not. And we're going to get into it. The English word zombie was first recorded in 1819 in a history of bizarre, written by the poet Robert Southey, in the form of zombie, ZOMBI. I'll wait till the grid goes down. Those phone zombies will freak out. Yeah, buddy, that ain't no joke. That's exactly what they are. They're phone zombies. Dictionaries trace the word origin to African languages related to the words connected to gods, ghosts, or souls. One of the first books to expose Western exposed to Western culture, the concept of voodoo zombie was by William B. Seabrook and his book The Magic Island, written in 1929. The account of the narrator who encountered voodoo cults in Haiti and their resurrected thralls, a new version of zombie, and it was his account on the resurrection of the voodoo thralls, THRALLS, thralls. Sorry, I have a natural habit of rolling my R's. Another one here is a new version of zombie, distinct from the described in Haitian folklore, emerged in pop culture during the later half of the 20th century. This interpretation of zombie, ZOMBIE, I've seen a documentary on voodoo zombies. That's interesting, and that's one of the things we're going to bring up is a lot of this stuff is tied to Haitians, but it's also tied way back to Africa.
Right.
So, I mean, even Blackbeard was said to have had a couple of zombies working on his ship. Zombies is throughout our history. They really are. This interpretation of zombie as in an undead person that attacks and eats flesh of a living people is drowned largely from George A. Romero's film Night of the Living Dead from 1968, which was partly inspired by Richard I'm going to butcher that name because I can't talk today. I can't really talk anytime. I'm just too hillbilly. Matheson's novel I Am Legend, which is something I was wanting to bring up a little bit ago. Do you guys remember the movie with Will Smith, I Am Legend? Do you remember how the zombies came about? Now, that's an interesting thing about them zombies, and which I think why that movie or this novel really was the novel first, really depicts a true meaning of what a zombie is. And we're going to learn about that when we start diving into these ancient cultures, as they're known through a lot of many cultures of not only being zombie, but a type of vampire. So that's why I find that movie, I Am Legend, very interesting, or technically it first came out as a novel. Supposed cure for cancer. You're absolutely right, Cynthia, which is has always been my understanding. This is how this is going to happen. I've always thought, and this is how I felt, if it was ever going to happen was because of something like that. I don't own a phone by choice, and I'm better off for it. Yeah, it's nice. I got to have one because of work, and I'm a single daddy, so. The word zombie is not used in Night of the Living Dead, but was applied later by fans. Following the release of such zombie films as Dawn of the Dead, 1978, The Return of the Living Dead, 1985, the later of which introduced the concept zombies that eat brains, as well as Michael Jackson's music video, The Thriller, 1983, the genre waned off for some years. So you see, oh man, I just hit my button the wrong way. You are doing some weird stuff today, dude. So we're going to start diving into these cultures and how these zombies came about. So I just wanted to give you guys kind of concept of how we understand zombies came from. And I wanted to kind of give you some new developments on this stuff. And that's why I had those news articles in there. They're going to starve to death if they try to eat my brain, Combat Dad. I ain't going to lie to you. Not a lot of brains to be had these days. They still strive. So before we dive into these cultures and their zombies, I want to see what you guys all think about what was the come about and with this new stuff. I mean, to me, I find this stuff kind of interesting. And William and I have said this countless times. If you want to know what the next thing is going to happen, watch what Hollywood puts out. That's
Yeah.
We've said that several times.
True. Very true. Yeah, it's almost like there's somebody in Hollywood that is setting us up with information or leakage information to us so we can be prepared for it. Whoever that is, I thank them. But I really believe that if I'm probably going on a limb here, but I would say that if there's going to be a zombie outbreak, it's going to be through illegal drugs. It's just, something down in my heart of hearts tells me that that's how it's going to happen. Because if you've ever seen the news clips and stuff of people on fentanyl in LA and Philadelphia and Chicago and how they're just so not even there. I mean, they're just gone. They're flesh and bone, just standing around and basically brain dead. I just think that it's going to be something to do with fentanyl. I look for it to be a new strain of illegal drugs that'll probably start out with, the rich and famous people starting to do it and the sports athletes, and then right on down the chain. So, but that's just my theory on it. That's what I think how it's going to happen. But it could very well be supernatural. It could very well be, genetic. It could be, biological through chemical warfare. I mean, it could be anything really. But my first guess would be the fentanyl.
That's well in that realm of possibility because we've already seen the effects of what it does on people. So, I mean, I agree 100%. That is a very good variable to throw in there, the possibility of it happening. I can't dispute that one bit. Hey, Freaky, how's it going? So one of the first kind of cultures I'm going to talk about is the one that we have associated with zombie. And thinking this is where they actually came from. I've got reports from ancestors from a heck of a lot longer than that actually talks about it. But this is the first one, which is going to be the Haitian folklore about the zombie. Zombies are featured widely in Haitian rural folklore as a dead person's physically revived by the act of necromancy or of a boker. And for those you don't know, a boker is like it's a
mediator in the spirit world.
Huh? Yeah, I was trying to think of a good term for it.
Yeah, they're like a mediary for the spirit world. That's pretty much what.
Yeah, I was thinking there's something else, but yeah, I mean that's pretty much what a boker is. A sorcerer or a witch is another one that can do it. The boker is opposed by by Hongan, which is a priest, and the Mambo, which is a priestess, or the formal voodoo religion. African scholars who seriously discuss such topics as zombie say the word comes from the Congo word for soul, Nzambi. When slaves were brought to Haiti and the voodoo religion grew amidst all African traditions and the harsh conditions of slavery, the idea of Zonbi, which is Zonbi, was born.
Yeah, yes, I mean, just look at what
behavioral and functions.
Yeah, just look at the puffer belly fish. Just look at what's the people that use the poison from the puffer belly fish.
Yep.
Most of the zombie outbreaks are people that disappear from in the voodoo culture. Is from the blowfish.
Oh yeah, I mean that voodoo stuff ain't nothing to jack around with, man. It's man. You get on the bad side of a voodoo person, ooh, that can end badly for you. It is estimated that 80 to 90% of Haitians serve the spirits or practice voodoo. In voodoo, all people die in two ways: naturally, which is sickness or by the gods, and unnaturally, such as murder. Those who die unnaturally linger at their grave, unable to rejoin the ancestors until the gods approve. Souls are vulnerable during this or at this time. There well may be they can be snatched up by the powerful sorcerer or buku and locked in a bottle, which the buku uses to control their undead but unliving body. Other times he lets their body rest, but uses just the soul. So you're kind of seeing here where the dark magic aspect comes into this. And it's not just Haitian, but this is the one we're looking at on the Haitian side right now. You can see where this dark magic plays into this zombie stuff. Then it says drugs can help precipitate a spiritual change in a person. Yeah, they can. It's all that chemotherapy is what I call it all the time, Dennis, because that's you're using a chemical to alter a state of your being or your body, which is the actual definition of chemotherapy. It's not just cancer; it's anything with that. So, I mean, adding a drug like that in there, or even natural means and herbs can bring upon this type of deal. So, yeah, you're right, bud. But that's what I find interesting because they're going as we go through more of these ancient stuff, you're going to see where a lot of it's very similar. There's either dark magic caused into it or something else which caused them to be this way. For Haitians, it's dark magic. This does not have this does not have an unpleasant, or this is not unpleasant for the soul or the body. Under the right circumstances, a hardworking man might prefer to continue working rather than lie waiting in the ground, especially if he is used by a buku to help with healing magic. More unsavory buku, though, could possibly kill a man to make a zombie, then force him into mindless thrall or worse, black magic and evil entities. Hey, Pancho, how's it going? I'd rather retire. Yeah, I don't want to be a thrall or a zombie. I don't want to be that. No. Zombies and bukus bokos are found only on the fringes of the voodoo religion, belonging to the realm of secret societies, not the everyday praising of the gods. Awa, Iwa, or no, that's an no, that's an I. Awa. Do Haitians believe that the dead rise and become at the best helpers and the worst, and at worst slaves? To some, zombies are just folk tales. To some of them, zombies are just folk tales. In others, they are possible. They are possible as they're just more realistic as having a car crash. I mean, it's real to them. And still others, they are somewhere in between. Most your zombies as a metaphor for hard life without reward, a loss of control, or worse, a loss of faith. And that's just a little bit into the Haitian side of it with the voodoo. I didn't want to get too dark into it or too deep into it. Because, I mean, we could probably do a 2-hour show alone dealing with the voodoo and zombies. I mean, there's a lot there. Guys, let me know what you think on this Haitian side of it.
Well, for the Haitian people, I mean, talk about living in fear every moment of your life when you're over there. And just knowing that all it would do is take a certain drug and a brief ceremony. And when I say brief, I mean 8 hours in duration, probably is about as long as they can. But they for the longest time, Haitian people, when they were buried, were putting a chain or a rope into the coffin connected to a bell outside on the outside of the ground. And if they actually were buried alive, which is the effect of a lot of people were buried alive in the 1800s from certain
Yep.
drugs or food or whatever, mostly ocean food. But they would ring the bell if they woke up and they were buried under the ground. So even tales in Transylvania, in Romania, they still to this day, if they think somebody is capable of coming back or being buried alive, they still to this day will put a bell so they can ring it from being in the company.
Yep.
So I mean, this type of stuff is, like you said, it's been around for a very, very long time, with the first accounting of it being Sumerian, and we can tell from the Sumerian script, the text and stuff that's been found, that, they were the first actual culture to be introducing the zombie effect. So, I mean,
And,
it's a weird world.
it is. And that's kind of funny you bring that up, Melissa. The true origins of the term graveyard shift was because of that. People would sit at nighttime at the graveyard listening for that bell and start digging them up.
Exactly.
So that's where the origins of the word graveyard shift came from. So yeah, I mean it's cool. So we're gonna jump into something I'm a little bit more familiar with. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. No, you go ahead. Go ahead.
No, you're good. Okay.
All right.
I'm going to jump into something I'm more familiar with.
Okay. I was just going to say briefly that when somebody is buried, like over in Romania or Latvia or one of them countries over there in the East, and they're suspected of either being, coming back from the dead as a vampire or something, or even a werewolf, they're usually buried with almost like a sword across their throat. So when they go to sit up, it takes their head off.
Yep.
And I've seen that done firsthand, as far as that goes, having that as a backup plan for not having them come back as a vampire or a zombie or a werewolf or whatever you want. But where does reality begin and supernatural, spiritual ideas end? I mean, it's not very far-fetched. Zombies are definitely not very far-fetched.
No. Well, and you look at ancient Greece. The Greeks used to either put a heavy boulder on top of the body to keep it from coming back alive because they believed in zombies and vampires, or there had been reported in England where, because they'd ran out of places to bury bodies, they'd redig up old bodies and repurpose the old bones for something else. They would be digging people up and people would be trying to eat at them, and they would shove bricks down their mouth to keep them from biting them. So I mean, there's these kind of reports are throughout the world on this, on stuff like this, and to prevent it from happening. This next one, like I said, is kind of up my alley because of my family background, which is the Norse zombie, which is the Draugr. Now, a lot of people are going to think Draugr comes from the Skyrim game. No, Draugrs actually come from Norse mythology. I've heard that in some cases they was vampires. Yep. I mean, I had that up. Sorry, I thought it was a new one. Yeah, I mean that's what's freaky. That's with vampires and zombie votes. You'll find a lot of practices that were used to prevent zombies coming back or vampires coming back is the same practices they use on each one of them. In Transylvania, they still put stakes through people's hearts to keep them from coming back as a vampire. So, I mean, there's a lot of practices, even to this day, it's still being done in some of these cultures that's not done here in the United States no more. We think it's barbaric. For them, that is their way of life because this is something that has affected them deeply. We just got away from it.
Yeah. And then you have to look no further than the reports of ghouls
Mm-hmm. Oops, I accidentally added something in here that's not supposed to be for this one. Take that off because otherwise that'll throw me off. So Draugrs, they're known to be in like mounds or graves. They've known to protect their riches. A lot of times, when you have a Norse burial, you're buried with your riches. They believe you take those riches to you with the afterlife, either Valhalla or Thrufen, wherever it is. This is where they take their riches, and Draugrs are known to be very protective of their riches. Um, there's been accounts throughout history, which I'll read one here in a minute, where a guy had to fight and kill a Draugr to get his riches. That's how he made money. He didn't make money by going raiding or farming or fishing or building something. He robbed graves. He was a grave robber. And this is one of the oldest reports in the Norse reign of encountering Draugrs. Now, it's either Draugr, Draugr, or Dragi. There's a couple different pronunciations with this. I'm just Draugr for me. Now if it's D D-U-R, no, D-A-R, I forgot how to spell off the top of my head. If it's just G-R at the end of it, it's one. If it's G-A-R, that means more than one. So there's ways of spelling it, which means either one or more. That's a waste of good meat. Freaky. So the word Draugr may relate to the Swedish word drog, which according to and I can't pronounce this name, Savest Deli Lexicon means a pale, influential, and slow-minded person that drags himself along. Now, the actual name Draugr means again walks. That is what Draugr means. So that's where the zombie thing comes again. You know, the living undead. Draugr again walks, or again Walker. Never mind, Walker. In medieval context, they have also been called Hoga Bui, burrow dwellers, or after Tigana, they once again was again Walker. Is another name. Many Draugr have some type of connection to burial mounds. Oh yeah, that's the kind of stuff I was talking about. Okay, I'm repeating myself on that one. Hogabort in the Norwegian word translations into mound breaking. This is what you call a grave robber. I mean, that is. Oh, my mouse ain't working. Come on, dude. There you are. Freaky, that is possible. Although golems are not well known in Norse mythology, but I can't rule that out. Yeah, I know a lot of them. Monica. I do. I know a lot of them. I don't know about that, Freaky. The way you come up with some stuff sometimes, I wonder. But your Hogabort is a grave robber. Gretti's saga, written down in the 14th century, tells a story of Grettir Asamondrason, an Icelandic outlaw living in the 11th century. Grettir decided to break into a mound in order to get his hands on the old man's treasures. And and it is in here that he has gotten. Is where it's told that he had to fight the Draugr. Carr has become a living dead man. This is the man he was trying to raid. Has become a living dead man. Jealousy guarding his own. Then this is another common thing with Draugr. They're very, very protective of their riches. They'll kill you. These are the type of zombie that's known to use weapons. Also, it has been reported that they know how to use magic, and that's where a lot of stuff from that Skyrim game comes from. Is these ancient stories. So you're seeing even the undead here. These type of zombies know how to use magic. So I mean, it's something to consider too. Which, if it comes to the brain eating ones or the Draugr, I'd rather be the brain eating ones. If I got to fight them, at least they're one pop to the head, you can kill them. Like a Draugr, the only way to kill a Draugr is you got to cut its head off, burn its body, and put its ashes out to sea. And the emphasis is to make sure that this thing is dead, because you can cut this thing, you can slash this thing, you can stab this thing, and he's still going to come at you. They're also known to be able to increase their size and strength. They are also known to be able to go through rock. They can manifest through rock and come at you. So there's not really a safe place to hide from these things. These things can come at you from anywhere. And in my first book, Saga Grimson, Book 1, How Grimson Becomes Grimson, is he fights these Draugrs. And I put all this in there, and that's why I put it in there. I like to try to keep things as accurate as possible. But they can do that. They can go through solid rock. You can cut the arm off. They're still going to come at you. You can shove a spear right through his chest, and he's still going to come at you. You know, they can, like I said, increase size, increase strength. These things are very, very hard to kill. The Draugrs, very hard to kill. So, I mean, that's just kind of the stuff in the north side that we're going to talk about. Yeah. It's there's some Draugrs are bad. They're bad. They're some of the worst I've seen throughout a lot of these cultures to deal with is them. I mean, I don't know how much you know on Draugrs, William, but I mean they're bad boys.
Now, when it comes to the Nordic stuff, I'm not really too versed on it, but you know, it sounds to me like they are based off of a supernatural type of an entity, like a being, not more like a cryptid or something along that lines, if you know what I mean.
Yep.
They basically sound like the native legend of the Wendigo. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in which the two ways to become a Draugr, the two main ways to become a Draugr is one, either somebody raids your burial and you come back to defend your riches. The other one, if somebody was unpopular or just pure evil or was not liked, they have also been known to come back as a Draugr. They can enter your dreams and mess with you in your dreams. They will wreak havoc on the living. These Draugrs they're not like most of the zombie types that you think of. These guys are pure evil. I mean, they're bad. And I agree with you. Supernatural side plays a lot of it, which if you kind of look at it, supernatural side plays in a lot of the zombie stuff too. But in Draugrs, they're yeah,
especially Draugrs,
yeah. And one thing I didn't know, and I found this when I'm my research, and this kind of blew my mind because I didn't know the Chinese actually have zombies. So this one's kind of new to me. I thought I knew a lot about them.
Yeah, it's called their military.
Yeah, they're known as a. This is where one of the first cases you're going to hear that they zombies and vampire are the same thing. This is one of the first cases I found in ancient history where a zombie and a vampire are the same thing. And which, I mean, in honesty, I guess a Draugr is too, in a lot of ways. But they're known as the Jingxi, and also known as the Chinese hopping vampire. It is a type of reanimated corpse in Chinese legends and folklore. It is typically depicted as a stiff corpse dressed in official garments from the Qing dynasty. I know I'm saying that Qing, Qing. I know I'm saying that one wrong. I'm not Chinese, so I'm going to mess that up. And it moves around by hopping with its arms outstretched. It kills living creatures to absorb their chi, or chi is life force. In the Chinese, when you hear chi, you're thinking of life force. So when you hear that, that's what it means. Usually at night, while during the day it rests in its coffin or hides in a dark place such as caves. And there you get near coffins with the vampires and stuff again in nighttime only. And that's the way these type are. The Qin dynasty scholar Xi Zorlan, I messed that up, states that the cause of the corpse to be reanimated could be classified in either of two categories: a recently deceased person returning to life, or a corpse that has been buried for a long time but does not decompose. Some of the cases for this are the use of supernatural arts to resurrect the dead. So there's this black magic again. I mean, once again, we're getting right back into that black magic with these zombies. Spirits possessing of a dead body. A corpse absorbs significant amounts of yang qi to return to life. A person's body is governed by 3 huns and 7 poes. The scholar Yon Mi wrote in his book Zibu Yo that a person's hun is good, but the po is evil. The hun is intelligent, but the po is not so good. The hun leaves his or her body after death, but their po remains and takes control of the body. So the dead person becomes a yangji. So this is where you're seeing a lot of. Now we're getting outside of the black magic side, but you're getting inside to the possession side, where the evil spirit possesses the dead body, which we talk about all the time how demons can do this stuff. Demons take possessions of things and they take shapes of things to scare you.
Yep.
Could that be what this is? I don't know.
Yeah. Demons are the original shapeshifters too. So
right. So I mean, I found that in. I was like, man, I didn't even know about I've heard of Zhangzi before, and I never put it together. Even with all the Chinese movies I've watched where they're fighting zombies, and I never put together they're calling them Zhangzis. And when I read this, I went, oh crap, yeah, okay, I forgot all about this. I thought it was just some kind of movie deal that they had on, to everybody in the world was on that zombie craze for a long time. Come find out they're real things. They're actual deals. The dead person is not buried even after a funeral has been held. This is another way they can come back. If the person is not buried after a funeral is held, the corpse comes to life after it is struck by a bolt of lightning, or when a pregnant cat or a black cat in some tales leaps across the coffin. I remember hearing something about that a long time ago, but I thought that was actually tied to something else. And maybe it was this that I was thinking of. Another one is when a person's soul fails to leave their deceased body due to improper death, suicide, or just wanting to cause trouble. There's back to that Draugr, wanting to cause trouble. He wasn't very well liked. He'd come back and wreak havoc on people. You're seeing a very similar thing here in the Chinese legend. Another one is a person's injured by a Zhangzi, infected with the Zhangzi virus, and gradually changes into a Zhangzi over time. There's where you get your modern zombie stuff right there. If a Zhangzi bites you, you become a Zhangzi. Just like the zombies in your movies. If they bite you, you turn into a zombie. So that kind of stuff I thought was really interesting when it comes to that.
Yeah.
And some of this stuff, I mean, these Chinese have got a laundry list. Oops, where'd it go? A laundry list of things. I mean, If you guys want to know the different ways of killing a Zhangji, I can send it to you, but there's dang near 20 different ways that you kill a Zhangji through the Chinese culture. It's just weird. The last one we're going to talk about, and then we can dive into other stuff, is the Sumerian zombie. Now, these things here, this is your oldest recorded zombie encounters or even reports or talkings in history, is the ancient Sumerians. Let me make sure. I think that was my last. No, I've got one more after that. I apologize. I got one more after that. In some situations, a zombie is used to cause harm or create profit for its creator. In other situations, the undead became completely whole and eventually joined their maker in heaven. The earliest reference to the undead in literature appears in Sumerian epic poem of Gilgamesh, composed of back in 2700 to 2500 BCE. So, hey, Glades, how's it going? No. Oh, yeah. Yeah, actually, I forgot about that one, Glades. Yeah. Well, look at all your shows. Look at all your movies. They say the same thing, man. If you get bit by this, you'll change. Or if you just dry, the virus is in you and you change. It's I'm starting to see a lot of ties of this ancient cultures that's tied into what our modern day zombie is. Oh yeah, yeah. I forgot about that. The lady in the bathtub from The Shining is kind of a zombie like. Yeah, I've only seen part of that movie. I'll admit I've not seen that movie all the way. Kind of kicking around if I actually do or not. I mean that is a really wicked movie. Wicked. Since today in Halloween, we will probably be seeing lots of small children dressed as zombies wandering about out and about later tonight. This is from a. I actually got this from a deal. I forgot to take that part out. Sorry, guys. You may be surprised to learn, however, the zombie legends are nearly as ancient as written itself, and the earliest reference to them come from the oldest literature known to man. The earliest clear reference of zombies came from the Akkadian epic Ishtar's descent into the netherworld, which is based on an earlier, much more detailed Sumerian origin about the goddess Inna. So this is I put this in here because there's the kind of the history of the story about how zombies came about. In both versions, the goddess is questioned. This is going to be both the Akkadian and the Gilgamesh one, or the Sumerian one. First is going to be the Akkadian. I shall smash the. Sorry, I got ahead of myself there for a second. In both versions, the goddess is in question descends to the underworld and pounds on the gates, demanding to be let in. A gatekeeper comes to answer the knocking. The Akkadian version never states the gatekeeper's name, but the Sumerian version calls him Nitti. The Akkadian version, Ishtar threatens, if you do not open these gates for me to come in, I shall smash the door and shatter the bolts. I shall smash the doorpost and overturn the doors. I shall raise the dead, and they shall eat the living, and the dead shall outnumber the living. And that's one of the oldest one. Then it goes into the Sumerian side of it, and this goes back to the Epic of Gilgamesh. Ishtar makes a similar but not as descriptive threat to her father Anu. If you don't give me the bull of heaven, I shall strike. I shall set my face towards the infernal regions. I shall raise the dead, and they shall eat the living. I shall make the dead outnumber the living. So I thought that was like, wow. And I remember everything I ever heard of zombies, the zombies have always outnumbered the living.
And you see the thing with that too. The thing with that too, Eric, is the fact that it says that he will make them. Okay, so that is genetics being manipulated, is what that is.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, she's either doing genetic manipulation or she's, it goes right back to that supernatural thing, too. Does she have the power to actually bring, look at Haitians, how they do it. They use they capture the soul and reanimate it in the body to bring them back as a zombie, as a slave. Is it the same concept? And of course, you got to think, the Haitian side comes, the voodoo comes from Africa, and this is all in that area. So you're seeing how that kind of ties to ancient Sumerian. It's, could that be what we're dealing with? Could that be the end of days?
That very well could be.
Man. It's when you get to reading some of this stuff, and this is only folks, I've only done just like a small. I just picked out a small bit of stuff, just something we may be more familiar about. There is actually a laundry list more of stuff that talks about these zombies throughout history. The last one we're going to end on is going to be the English ones here in a minute. But I want to get your guys' opinion and spin on what we went over tonight. To me, this stuff is wow. Trying to get my thing set up here. Sorry.
That's all right, man. Take your time.
But go ahead.
I want to ask Glades something too, though. Do you remember the report of the young, like a 13-year-old girl taking garbage cans to the end of her driveway, and there was an electric gate, and she had to put the garbage cans outside the driveway in Florida, and she said that this big muscular type of a zombie attacked her, and she was screaming. He had her pinned on the ground and was going to take a bite out of her, and her older brother, who was 16 at the time, basically opened the gate up, and the gate and the brother knocked the zombie off of the young girl, and the young girl ran and got her father, and the young man, the 16-year-old, was pinned down by this thing, and this thing was drooling and everything, and trying to bite him also, until the father came out and punched it in the head and knocked it off of him and got his son back inside the property and put the gate up. As soon as the gate was closed and they were out of sight, the zombie lost all interest and walked away. Now, that was actually in a police report down in Florida, and I can't remember what county in Florida it was reported in, but I asked, if you ever heard of that.
Didn't that take place around Orlando?
I'm not sure exactly. That's just it. It was a few years ago, quite a few years ago. Yeah. But oh, you don't remember that, Glades? Oh, wow, that was big news.
I
that was the
that
same time frame. Yeah, that was the same time frame that the cops actually unalived that one zombie that was eating the face off of that man by the interstate. That was on, I think it was on bath salts. Bath salts was the drug of choice that did that.
Yeah. Well, and think about it. You remember around, I think it was mid 80s. What was that they were on, man? Cops would just mag dump, and the guy would still come at him. What was that drug they were on back then? Oh my gosh. I think they even called it the zombie drug back then. I can't remember what it was on, man.
Only thing I remember is the bath salts and the fentanyl now.
Yeah, there was one like in the mid 80s. I can't remember what drug it was, man, but you smoked it. Generally, it was smoked. Sometimes it was sniffed, but it was generally you smoked it, and like
That would be
you
opium.
lost all control, huh?
That would be opium then.
It might be, but it's not the term. I can't remember what the term of it was. Man, that was a long time ago. But if you took it, you lost all control. And it was a type of meth, I'm thinking, but I can't remember what they called it. You lost all control of your mind, and it's like you gained superhuman strength. And I mean, these cops in New York were talking about how they were mag dumping in this dude, and he was still coming at them.
Yeah.
I mean, they shot him in the head. They hit a lot of places, and he was still coming at them. I remember, hey Griff, I remember the report. Huh?
That's when you take aim at their kneecaps and make sure they can't walk at you.
Yeah. No, actually, if I remember right, he was still coming because you lost all pain. You felt nothing. And I believe in the 80s they were coining that the zombie drug. But I mean, he was shot, I mean, all over the body, even in the head, and he was still coming. And again, if I remember this one report that I'm thinking of, he was on top. Yeah, he was on top of a roof in New York when this happened. And I think what finally slowed him down, it didn't stop him, but slowed him down is he fell off that roof. And this was probably, I think, 10-story high. He fell off the roof and slammed and bounced off the concrete. And they were able to handcuff him, but he was still kicking and screaming. Huh?
I said, bumbles do bounce.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and they got him back. They got him into the hospital, and he was still tearing up the hospital bed. And he did not quit until the stuff left his system and he was dead. I mean, the whole time this guy was dead, and he was still doing all this damage. Right. I remember that in the 80s. I mean, that was like mid to late 80s when this came out. So, I mean, you're looking, this is another incident of chemical-induced zombieism, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember the reports back in the 1980s of a certain guy here on the East Coast at one of the, bigger hospitals around here in the Baltimore, D.C. type of an area. I'm not sure which one, but I remember it was reported that he was brought in as a DOA, and he came back to life in the morgue, and he ripped his way out of the body bag. He came back to life out of the morgue, and they have accounts of this, police reports and stuff of this incident. And this individual proceeded to go to the end of the hallway, chased by the armed security, trying to tell him to stop, and he wouldn't listen. And that individual jumped out of the 3rd-story window, and the armed guards ran to the window. And as the cops pulled up, they all witnessed this thing landing on its feet and running down the street faster than any human was able to run. Now, is that a zombie or is that a vampire? I don't know. But the fact of the matter is, he was DOA on arrival, and he wasn't. So
yeah. Well, and look at the Chinese version. I mean, they'll tell you that a zombie it's another form of a vampire. You listen to stories about the Roger, they're the same way. So the possibility. We when we think of zombie, we think of Walking Dead. Slow moving. In all actuality, if you read a lot of reports in ancient history, they weren't slow moving. The only one that was the Japanese hopping vampire, which is known as.
Play that video again. Yeah, play that video again and show them how fast that they move in that video.
Yeah, here we go, guys.
Прием, 9-2. Могу его видеть. Стреляй, товарищ командир, стреляй! Двое его преследуют. Подлетаю, 70 градусов на юг. Еще один. Их уже 4, которые его преследуют. Их уже 5, товарищ командир, 5. Другой справа. Среди вышел из здания. 5, товарищ командир, 5. Стреляй, товарищ командир, стреляй!
Yeah, I mean, And that's a very common report. Like I said, I can't play the full video, especially towards the end, because I'm on YouTube. I'm going to be sending this video. I actually sent it to you on Messenger, William. So you're going to have that on Messenger.
Okay.
But I played it in your Weirdo Warriors Messenger site too. So I mean, if you all are part of that, you can see the full video there, and you'll see why I can't play it to the end. And you're going to hear the emotions at the end. But I mean, those are fast moving, and it's. Oh no, sorry, Roxanne. Well, hope things good. Glade said something here. Remember in Georgia, I was born here, but my dad's side of the family is in Florida, Orlando, in the big Cypress Res.
Cypress Res, yeah. Yeah, I remember now. Glade. Sorry, but I thought you might have, remembered that. But I wish I knew what county all those reports were in Florida, because I believe they were all from the same county because it was reported on the local news.
Mm-hmm.
Damn, just can't think of
the
name
so
of the
many,
county.
There's so many reports. See, I remember that same thing, William. I remember the same thing, and I could have swore that was around Orlando. I could be wrong though. I may be thinking about something totally different.
There was also a report of there was also the report of the guy that was a Christian, and it was going to a Bible study, and all of a sudden they found him wandering aimlessly in the middle of a freeway in Florida, and he was acting like he was a zombie. That's no history of drug interactions at all. Not on any kind of prescription medication. Wasn't a big drinker. He was just your normal young Christian African American young man that basically ended up being a zombie. So, and I'm not sure how that ended for him, but hopefully they got him to a place where they could examine him a little easier and figure out what went wrong. Now, I think that was a case of a biological poisoning. That's what I think that was. Not unlike the ricin that was used in the 70s and the 80s to kill people. It could be a laboratory mixture of ricin and something else, maybe bath salts. You never know. Mixed together to affect people in that manner. So it's hard to say. I mean, there's so many reports of these zombie type of effects going on around the world because of illegal drugs and because of curses and voodoo and stuff like that, that it's just, it's almost overwhelming. It really is.
Oh yeah. I mean, in these reports, I mean, like we talked here, it goes back to like ancient times, like first writing ancient times is talking about these things, and they're all seem to be the very similar concept of how they come about. It's either A, through necromancy, or B, something, or grave robbery, or no, it's all basically that's it. I mean, or a goddess bringing you back. It's all that way. So, but I even remember reports of people on planes getting eaten by people, and they were calling it. And this was like, I think this is 90 sometime, somewhere around there. This might have been California. I can't remember, man. It was a long time ago. Where a guy was just sitting on the plane, all of a sudden he just started going up and acting savage and eating people or biting people's faces and necks and arms.
Yeah, that reminds me of that incident on the Greyhound bus with that young man that was sitting in the back of the bus, and how somebody sitting back in the back of the bus in the last seat got up and started biting him on the face and stuff, and the bus driver pulled over and got everybody else off the bus. And by the time the cops got there, the kid was having his face eaten off, was dead, basically.
Yeah.
So,
Oh,
Yeah, and it happened somewhere in the Midwest with that bus incident, the Greyhound incident. So
I
I can't remember
remember.
which one.
I
I want
remember
to say
Da
Minnesota.
talked about the. Yeah, I
Yeah,
remember Da talking about that, and he said, "Could this be a possibility of a window psychosis or a window ghost possession because of where
right,
this happened at?"
right,
I was
exactly.
like, "Wow."
Yeah, I believe it did happen in Minnesota. I could be wrong, but
Mhm.
I believe it
I
did
believe you're
happen in
right.
Minnesota.
Yeah, I believe you're right. I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, you're right. Yeah. Why is my mouth? There it is. Daggone it. Um. So I mean,
It's okay,
this ain't
Glaves.
no. His Osceola. Yeah. When I first saw your pick, Glades, I was thinking Cherokee. Um. Now some of these earliest reports in England or Britain back then had been Britain. Some of these reports date back to 13. Where was it? Oh no, I'm sorry, the 12th century.
Yeah,
And a similar accounts popped back up during 1370, and they seem to take place during the plagues. So, I mean, that raises the question: is this the plague that they're mistaking as a zombie, or are they covering something up and it was a zombie attack that they said was a plague? Because if you listen to
right.
some of the stories
Yeah,
I've gotten here, I mean, it can go either way on that. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm trying to remember here. So, like a monk wrote, this was written by a monk. It's not easy to believe that the corpse of the dead should sally. I know not but what agency from the corpse the dead should sally their from their graves and should wander about to terror or destruction of the living and gain again return to the tomb which of its own accord spontaneously open to receive them. Did not frequent examples occurring in their own times suffer to establish this fact, to the truth of which there is abundant testimony? Were I to write down all the instances of this kind of which I have acquired to have been befallen in our times, the undertake would be beyond measure laborious and troublesome. Um, so I mean, you got a monk talking about this in the 12th century.
yep. Sorry, I had to pick something up.
No worries. Melissa said the Florida faces eating incident was in 2012. Bath salts was thought to be the cause. The victim was a homeless man. It happened in Miami. She Googled it.
Okay, see, thank you, Melissa. Thank you very
Yeah.
much, sis. I appreciate that.
Hey, Blue, how's it going?
Oh,
So, I mean,
she Googled it.
yeah.
That's AI. We
She
can't trust
Googled.
AI.
Yeah. So, I mean, you can't deny what's out there, folks. I mean, we hit, like I said, a few of this stuff. But to what I find interesting, and I never put this together before, is how similar zombies and vampires seem to be, and how in ancient cultures they are pretty much the same. So, I
Right,
mean, could that be a type of vampire?
right, exactly.
You know, that's something. I mean, what do you guys think on that in chat? Do you guys think these zombies could be a type of vampire? Because, I mean, even one of the European names for a zombie is vampire, Vampyre. So, I mean, it's. Whew. I never really put the two together until doing research on this stuff. Going, holy crap, these things kind of hit hand to hand.
Right, exactly. I hate to do
That
this
is
to you. I hate to do this to you, everybody, but I'm getting a little short-winded here.
No problem, bro.
So I'm gonna have to get off here pretty soon. But much love and respect to everybody, and thank you, Eric, for having me on. I
Man, thank you
appreciate
for
it very
coming.
much. This subject is one that we probably could even do a part 2 to. So,
Yeah.
but until I see you all again, I wish you all nothing but happiness and love and light. Okay, and stay blessed and question everything. Okay, guys, question everything. All right, just don't believe your eyes. Use all your senses. Okay.
Heck yeah.
All right,
Brother, thank
brother.
you for coming on. It's been an honor.
Yep. Thank you, guys. Take care, Eric. We love you guys, and we'll see you all later. Okay.
All right, brother. Take it easy.
Okay.
So,
Oh, and tell that daughter of yours I'm very, very proud of her for graduation. So.
I will. Yes, we're trying to get her set up so she can head to college here in a few months.
Yeah.
So,
Very proud of her. So, all right, everybody, have a great night.
see you, my brother.
We'll see you.
So, yeah, guys. Getting on to where was it? So freaky in most cases, except for the Chinese one, they weren't slow moving. They ran fast. They were very fast, very strong. So far, the only slow moving one I knew of was the Chinese one that they call a Zhengji. So it's hard to say. Man, it's it really, yeah. William's right. We can do a part 2 to this easily because there's so much in here. Like on the English side of it, during the mid to later years of the 12th century, respected chroniclers working on the cathedrals and the monasteries across England began writing in all seriousness about corpses rising from their graves to wander through the streets of towns, spreading pestilence and death in their wake. Similar accounts popped up in late 1370 AD in the continental Europe. So that's where we're getting into there on some of that. So it's, and like I said, a lot of this tied up to around the time of the plagues. And that gentleman, that monk I was talking about earlier, William of Newburgh, he goes on and added in a reference to another laborious and troublesome, another incident that Bishop Hugh of Lincoln, which is London nowadays, if I remember correctly, had been warned. Such things often happen in England. In other words, William of Newburgh was of the opinion these reports of the undead were not just reliable and accurate, but also widespread. A plague of zombies, in fact, is what he called it. Who or what these undead creatures? Who or what were these undead creatures? The term used almost universally by the English chroniclers of that era was revenant. You guys remember that movie, The Revenant? This is the basis of it right here. But what is a revenant? Setting the term into some context, the people living in the Middle Ages, the supernatural threats they believed they faced included, firstly, demons, imps, and devils, all agents of Christian church arch enemy Satan. Secondly, there were ghosts as in the restless spirits of the dead. These were very much comparable to the popular media image of today's ghost, semi-transparent phantoms of what the person looked like in life or at the point of death. Anne Boleyn with her head tucked on, or one of the instances, Anne Boleyn with her head tucked underneath her arm. Thirdly, there were revenants, and this is where they're talking about the Davids, or this is where they're talking about the zombies. I haven't looked down and seen the chat and seen David said something. You have a great night too, buddy. These are not merely manifestations of dead persons. They were deceased, rotting, walking corpses. And this is what they're writing back in the Middle Ages of what they're seeing going through the streets in Europe. In the Norse countries of Europe, they were known as the Draugr, which we talked about that earlier. While in the Slavic countries of Eastern Europe and the Balkans, they were called the Vampire. The use of the word vampire is intriguing for although at first a glance revenants might seem to be the same as modern day zombies, accounts of their activities not just attacking the living and biting them, but also feasting on their blood, takes them into the realm of the vampire of the modern fiction. These vampire links is further reinforced by the word William Nyberg uses to describe them in one of his accounts, the Sangugashuga, which translates as leech or bloodsucker. So, I mean, we're seeing here that, again, I mean, some ties to them with vampirism. So that makes you wonder, are they a type of it? I don't know, man. I've always grew up thinking, hey, Ray, how's it going, buddy? I always grew up thinking they were something different, Then again, I grew up with Hollywood's version of a lot of that stuff. So I don't know, man. We're looking at accounts from way back where where there's something different than we grew up with knowing what they are. But I mean, they're all pretty much the same. It's usually, some kind of dark magic that brings them back. There is an instance of white magic doing it, but black magic bringing them back, or a deity of some type bringing them back, or messing with their graves bringing them back, or they weren't happy being alive and they were unliked and they wanted to torment the living, which seems to be the common thing. They're either A, they were a slave, or B, they want to wreak havoc on the living. Man, what's your what's your guys' thought in the chats on this stuff? I mean, this is some new stuff, that some of the stuff I didn't even know about. Like I said, I grew up thinking one way. Yeah, freaky. It does to me too, man. It's blowing my mind on some of the stuff that I read that I thought I knew quite a bit about them, but once again, I came from a north side and Hollywood side. I mean, I'm finding out, man, there's a lot more to this. It is, Cynthia. It really is. And, so some of the things so one of the theories is what's going to bring this zombieism to life is, let me get to it. Something similar to this, where a fungus is going to infect you and it's going to cause you to come back as a zombie. The problem with the fungus side of it, we're built too tough for it being a fungus. Me personally, If it was going to happen and we was going to have some type of zombie apocalypse, I'm not leaning towards it being a fungus. To me, it's either going to be some type of supernatural deal, dark magic deal. More so nowadays, probably something chemical based. It's not a fun guy if something's making you're a zombie. Yeah, making you a zombie. Yeah, dude. No, it's really not. I mean, and voodoo they talk about, yeah, some of the good voodoos, priest or priestess turn you that way to help you make healing magic. I don't even think I want to come back that way either. I really don't, because every bit of this just screams evil. That's my opinion, but to me, every bit of it screams evil, and that could be because of my upbringing. That absolutely could be because of my upbringing. But I mean, these things can run fast. I mean, they're strong, got a hunger. They're mindless. It's it's wicked, and that's kind of where I leaned at too, and that's why I was talking about earlier, Cynthia. Is I'm really leaning to it more like I Am Legend, which was originally a novel, and but the movie was good. The movie was really good, and when I seen that movie before I even knew there was a novel out about it, to me that spoke. This is how it actually happened. But even in that movie, I Am Legend, the zombies were like vampires as well. So there again, could that be a possibility? Studying ancient history will tell you that is a possibility. But I agree with you. I think it's going to be more along the lines of something like I Am Legend. And I mean, granted, like we talked about in the beginning when I was reading them news articles about the zombie virus found in the permafrost. That could be the start of it. Hey, Woo, what's happening? That very well could be the start of what brings this about. Because they're already setting up for quarantine, situations and countermeasures and stuff like that. If you don't think it's going to happen because you studied a newer style of that virus, but yet you're setting up for containment issues and breakout protocols, tells you they're kind of hiding something when it comes to that. Heck yeah, bro. Yeah. No joke. And it's like I said, with all these, the one I definitely don't want to face would be a Draugr, because they seem to be the hardest ones to kill. I can read a couple of the Chinese ones, man, but the Chinese has like a laundry list of ways that you kill these. So, and this is how they say you take out a Jiangji. A mirror is the essence of a liquid metal. It is dark on the external, but bright inside. Jiangjis are known to have said to be terrified of their own reflection. Interesting. What else do we know that either can't see its reflection? Vampire. No, I don't want to date one either, freaky. Heck no. Items made of wood. There's the wood again. From a peach tree. Peach is the essence of the 5 elements. It can subjugate evil auroras and detour evil spirits. A rooster's call. Evil spirits will withdraw from when they hear the rooster's call, because the rooster's call usually occurs with the sunrise. Jujube seeds. Nail 7 jujube seeds in the acupuncture points on the back of the corpse. Fire, which is another common one. I mean, even in the Draugr, you heard you got to burn the corpse. You got to cut the head off, burn the corpse, spread the ashes out to sea. That's how you kill a Draugr. So you got it here too. I mean, when set afire, the sound of crackling flames Blood rushes forth and bones cry. That's no joke. Yeah. I've had enough roosters. I agree with you 100% on that one there, freaky. My gosh, be sitting there midday and the thing's rowing. Hooves of a black donkey, vinegar, fulu, stuck on the forehead to immobilize them whilst it's is firmly stuck on. Holding one's breath, which makes the Jinji able to find them. And which, I mean, there goes right there. I mean, zombies can't hear you. They end up losing interest. How many times have we seen that? In all these movies and cartoons. A Bagu sign, which is Chinese symbols. It's a piece of paper set on with Chinese symbols intended to illustrate the nature of reality as being composed of mutuality, opposing forces, reinforcing one another. That's what a Bagu is. I Ching or Ye Ching, translated book of changes of classic or uh, the classic of changes, is an ancient Chinese diversion text that is among the oldest of the Chinese classics. A Tung Shu, mastering one's qi. A glutinous rice, that sticky rice. That's what they're talking about. Is that sticky rice? What would y'all do if your special someone turned into a zombie? Would you look up hoping for a cure or what? I would for a time, but only for a time. I mean, I ain't gonna wait forever because the longer you wait, the more chance it's gonna come get you. The adzuki beans is another one. A handbell, threads strained with a concoction of black ink, chicken blood, and burnt talisman. Blood of a black dog, stonemason's awl, an axe, a broom. Dropping a bag of coins can cause the Jinju to count the coins. Interesting. I wonder where that sounds familiar. The Rougarou. I remember something about a powder that is used to cause in the case of zombies, but also skinwalkers. Yeah. Are you thinking about white ash? Can't remember. Set up a chessboard. To subdue a hopping vampire, the person must take. And for those you just came in, the Chinese Jingjing is a vampire, but also called a hopping, or is a zombie, but also called a hopping vampire. Subdue a hopping vampire. The person must take a thin yellow piece of paper and write out a distinct spell in chicken's blood, which will then be attached to the vampire's forehead. A person defending themselves against a hopping vampire or zombie can use a 8-sided mirror called a Baku mirror, which is often used in Feng Shui. The mirror's purpose is to reflect light, which in turn scares the creature away. Okay, yeah. I was trying to remember. I think there's so much on Legends, it's hard to keep track of all of them, but I think I remember hearing something about that as well, Glades. I just realized something. Nighthawk Podcast is the only channel I've ever been on a guest on. No kidding. That's shocking. Let me know what you got. I may work something up. We can get you on the campfire chat. A sword charged under the light of a moon, made of Chinese coins, can be used in an attack against one. To stop a hopping vampire, or zombie as they call it, or zombie, but they call it a hopping vampire, in its place, take a small amount of blood and place it on the creature's forehead. To banish one, a person can throw sticky rice at the creature, drawing out the evil in it. So that sticky rice we was talking about is where that plays in. So I mean, it's just they, like I said, they got a laundry list of things to who's to say what actually works? Because each culture has a different way of getting rid of them. So, oh, we're coming up on that, but I got to set you down for a minute. I do. Don't look at me that way. Pain in the butt. I know. You're telling me it's getting close to bedtime. You know what day it is. On your butt. Well, and that's the thing, Ray, is if you notice with these vampires, a lot of the ways that they tell you to kill a vampire seems the same ways that you kill a zombie. And then, like I said, there's counts. I mean, where many times where a vampire or a zombie seems like a vampire. There's got to be some kind of connection there, and that's why I posed that question earlier: is a zombie a type of vampire? We know there's many types of vampires. Could zombie be one of them? First they steak, now rice. Yeah, don't play with the food. Well, when the steak now in their defense, freaky, the steak means they wouldn't steak. All right, both, yeah, and that's the thing. That's the thing, Glades. Both are undead. Both are the living dead. Both feed on blood. Both are scared of the light. Both are found in tombs. One can think for itself and the other can't. Maybe a connection for sure. That's kind of where I'm looking at, because like I said earlier, man, I never really put the two and two together. But the more I read on this and the more I think, I'm like, there is some kind of connection right there with that. The only thing that doesn't seem like a connection is the fact that with a zombie, they can be created from black magic. Where, vampire, like I showed you, like on a Lilith show that I did, she was one and made some. Her children were that type that she had. And, there talks about, now, this is one thing where they're saying a bite can transform you. A bite from a vampire can transform you into a vampire. In some cases, a bite from a zombie can turn you into a zombie. So, I mean, there's so many close connections to the two. So it makes you, I'm definitely going to have to look more into this. I really am. I mean, I thought I knew quite a bit of them, about them, but man, I'm starting to find out there's still a lot more I've got to learn. But I grew up, like I said, with Droggers and Hollywood. So, it's cool though. But I know some of you guys are want me to do a show on dragons. I'm going to start getting something together. I don't know when I'll put one out on that. Next weekend, there's a possibility I may not either have a campfire chats with Eric and guest show, or I may not have a Bizarre and the Unknown show. We're heading down to look at that the case number 002, the possible dogman or werewolf incident that happened not too far from here, encounter that I had gotten. If you look in my videos, case number 002 gives you the encounter that was given to me. So we're going to go down and checking that out. I wish, man, if I could, I would. I'm not good at technology, so I can't fake it with AI. Yeah. Goodness gracious, great balls of fire. But I mean, fire is a common trend in killing them too, man. And the same as vampires. If you look up the way to kill a vampire, it tells you to rip the head off and burn the body. And look at the Draugr. You cut the head off, you burn the body. Fire and removing the head and a lot of stuff in the supernatural side of it seems to be a very common trend. Just like pure silver with white ash, mixed with white ash. All those seem to be a very common factor when it comes to dealing with these supernatural entities. So there's got to be something to it. Because now I'll tell you, I'm confused. Do I bash the thing in the head to kill it, or I got to cut its head off? You know, I think Hollywood might be wrong on this one again. Then again, you know, like in the book that I'm working on, Reign of the Draugr, book 1, beginning of Armageddon. In that one, you know, the way to kill what I call a true Draugr is cut the head off, burn the body. But the lesser Draugr is you can bash them in the head and kill them. I kind of put those two aspects in that book as I was writing it. But I got to put the research into the books too. So that's why I had to put. I made 2 different type in that book. And could that be reality? That's real reason why I wrote it that way. Is that a possibility of how it could be? Yeah. Just like with vampires, you got a true vampire and you got a lesser vampire. All of it's possible. So I'm going to be getting things together. Before the show, I was with my friend. Still not sure if we're going to go live. We're talking about trying to go live. I may have to do it a different day than my regular schedule, so it won't be a regular scheduled The Bizarre and the Unknown, or I'm going to have to pre-record and release it at a certain time. I'm not sure yet how we're going to do it. Oops, hit the wrong button. But that is in the works. There we go. If you guys haven't already, hit that like, subscribe, and share button. Let's build this Bizarre and the Unknown universe. You know, when I last checked, I had 184 followers. You guys are awesome. You guys are freaking awesome. I have some of the best people in here, and we're all family. So let's build this universe together. And I'm thankful for all my new subscribers and the guys that's been here since day one. I'm thankful for every single one of you guys. If you guys don't know, I am an author, and I have 5 published books on Amazon. No, I'm sorry. This is my author's Facebook page. I jumped ahead of myself. I do have an author's Facebook page. You'll see me in my cowboy hat and my sunglasses. Anytime I write, come up with a new book, or I get ready to release a new book on either Kindle, paperback, hardback, or audio, I always keep that updated on that site there, on that Facebook page. And I let you, the readers, vote on what artwork you like for that stuff. I create my own book covers. I do use AI to create my book covers, so I create my own book covers. And I'll come up with a couple different designs, and I let you, the readers, vote on that. So if you're interested in being a part of that stuff, follow me on my Facebook page there, and we can do it. You know, my books are sold on Amazon. If you go with Amazon, type in e.d.testerman, you'll see my author's Facebook. You'll see my name above the book. Click that. It'll send you to my author's Facebook page. Anytime I have a book released, it'll let you know that I have a new one out. If any of you guys are interested in buying any kind of merch, either the Bizarre and the Unknown, campfire chats, or any merch dealing with my books, it's mainly shirts. I do have 2 types of coffee mugs out there. Currently, only for the Bizarre and the Unknown. I'll be making some others some other time. I just haven't got around to doing that yet. But they're available on Bonfire under /store/ the Bizarre and the Unknown. I am still almost done transferring stuff over to Rumble. I am putting a lot of my shows out on Rumble. Rumble is a lot more freedom on Rumble. I will be most likely be doing some types of live on Rumble. because I can say more things on it than I can, and I can show more things on it than I can with Facebook or YouTube. So I am currently working over there, working my way over there. If you want to donate to the channel to help it out, I can't do super stickers and stuff like that, but I have a buy me a coffee at .com/bizarre the unknown. I've had somebody donate already. It doesn't tell me exactly who it was, so I can't say, hey, thank you for that, like you can with the super stickers. But whoever it was, thank you very much. I appreciate you. Yes, but I ain't figured out, Freaky. I have not figured out how to do that through StreamYard. So I may have to go do that directly through Rumble until I can figure out how to get the proper codes to be able to start posting from StreamYard onto Rumble. So I'm not really jumping straight into doing lives on that yet because I'm really trying to figure out how I can do that first. But push comes to shove. Most likely, a lot of my political views on what's happening, the things that I see going on behind the scenes, I'll put on Rumble because I can't do it on here. That'll get me banned quick if I put it on here. And that'll probably be what I'm doing on there. If you guys have got encounters you want me to do a video on, or you just want to kind of ask me some questions, if you're not friends with me on the Facebook, to ask me questions, you can also email them here, the same as your encounters. I'll do a video if you want me to do a video about your encounters, like I did with Corey and Rachel and Juno, and the report I got on the possible dogman or werewolf close to me. You can email them to cryptidandmythological@gmail.com. If you want to be anonymous, I will keep you anonymous. I'm very big about doing that. Every Saturday, I have a show that you, the viewers, have created, and it's called Campfire Chats with Eric and Guest. This is a safe place that you can come on, and this is not formal. This is just like we're all sitting around a campfire telling stories. And this is what this show, the Campfire Chats with Eric and Guest show is. And this is, like I said, this was a show created by you, the viewers. This is your show. If you want to come on, I'll send you a link. You can share your encounters live, or if you just want to talk about it in chat, we'll keep it in chat. But that's a place you can go to do that. And I want to create a safe place for you guys to share your encounters. Hearing it from the person himself versus me, in my opinion, is far better. But if you want to be anonymous, I respect that, and you can email it to me, and I'll make a video on it. That's okay, Freaky. It's there. You can look at it later if you want to, bud. If you guys ain't following, my good friend, a good brother, fellow author, Amazon #1 top seller in the Western cryptid horror, Mr. D.A. Roberts. He has a YouTube channel called DAX Machina. It is a very good show. It's a really good show. If you go to Amazon, type in D.A.Roberts. The same with me. You'll find his book, click his name. That'll take you to his author's Facebook page or fan page. And if you follow him, anytime, sorry, I'm dealing with allergies still. Anytime he releases something new, it'll let you know. And not go over there and check him out. He is very, very good. Very good. My good brother who is on with me tonight, love this man to death, Mr. William Nighthawk. If you go to YouTube channel, William Nighthawk 6630, you can sit there and follow his content. I'm on with him on Saturday and Sunday mornings, sometimes with him on Friday night in the Red Rabbit Hole. The man is a fountain of information. He really is. He is top notch. I enjoy every time I get to be on with him, either on his show or mine. I'm just truly blessed to be able to have that experience. Another really good guy to follow is Jesus Payon Jr. If you go to YouTube, go to Breaking Discoveries or Breaking Bigfoot, you might know him from Better Call Saul, Breaking Bad. And if you're a movie buff, he's in 50 other movies too. He's really good. One thing I want to tell you guys before I forget, YouTube is doing a new thing too. Not only are they unsubscribing you to channels, but they're taking your notifications and moving it to personal instead of all. So if you're having trouble getting, like anybody's show that you follow, you're not seeing it when it comes up, check to see if you're still subscribed, or check and see if they move that. That's been something recent because a lot of people's been complaining about the fact they're being unsubscribed from channels when they shouldn't have been unsubscribed. And now they're doing this, moving it. And I just realized they did it for me on Jesus. Like, man, I haven't seen Jesus post anything in a while. So I went on there this morning when I was cooking breakfast and realized they'd moved my notification from all to personal only. So keep that in mind. So if you got some content followers you guys absolutely love, go in and check that stuff out. Yeah. I mean, they're doing some weird stuff. This is part of the reason why I'm starting to transfer stuff to Rumble. I'll still be on YouTube as long as I can, but I'm putting everything on Rumble too now because they're getting bad. I was in a Bigfoot documentary called Byways of Bigfoot. It's on Linda Eastburn's channel. Now, Linda posts different kinds of stuff, all kinds of stuff. It's not just Bigfoot. So she has numbers of interviews and different documentaries that she does on her channel. So if you want to see my fluffy bud on a documentary, go to Linda Eastburn's YouTube channel and look up Byways of Bigfoot. Another co-host on DX Machina is Robbie Rip Rains. Him and Johnny do awesome recordings on different kinds of stuff. He calls it DX Machina Light. Really, really good to go in and watch. So if you go into YouTube of what's really out there and listen to Robbie and Johnny talk about some stuff. A lot of them are like 30, 40-minute ones. Some of them are longer. So, I mean, he's got whatever you need available on his channel. Another good one was in the chat earlier is Jessica Jones herself, the Cryptid Huntress. If you go to YouTube and type in the Cryptid Huntress, you'll get to see her on there. She is very good. She's a very good researcher, very good investigator. I've been on with her a couple times. I've had her on my show once. Very, very good. That's another one that I like to follow a lot as well. And that's, those are people I don't like to recommend unless I really like the person and what they put out. So if I'm putting them out there, it's because I really like them and what they put out. I wish. I wish. I need that right now too, Freaky. So in closing, I created this this poem. I was going to alter it, but I've kind of stuck with it because I kind of like how it is. And I do this at the end of the Bizarre and the Unknown show. And it goes like this. There comes a time when a warrior falls. They leave this realm and will be missed by all. Raise a glass and keep them in your heart. They have kept this realm safe and performed their part. Look to your veterans, your active duty, your EMTs, and the blue line. What they do or have done was walk that fine line. When the demon comes calling on your soul, they will be there to save us all. Hold them in your prayers, for they are deserving. They all have served or are serving. You guys, thank you so much for joining me tonight. This was a very fun topic. I had a great time. Probably going to have to do a part 2. We'll see how things go and what I can find. So until the next time, y'all, peace, love, and blessings. God bless you all, and be safe out there.